Hello dear viewers, welcome back to channel. Maverick here with episode 2 of Tower of God. This episode came out a little bit late. The first episode I was actually out of town. Second episode, I just simply got the times mixed up. So, entirely my fault. Next episode, it will be on time. But yeah, anyways, last episode, a lot of you guys were saying a few things about the adaptation so far, particular in regards to how they changed some of the dialogue, how they changed some of the settings, some of the timing of the character introductions, yada yada yada. A lot of this is to be expected, though, right? This is an adaptation after all. The only thing that I hope it doesn't do is it doesn't go do something like the Shield Hero route, which is, even though, I think by this point we should all learn to expect that being an adaptation, you're bound to lose some things, right? It's just the natural trade-off of trying to adapt something from a text form, including manga, which is mostly text, right? With that being said, I really hate it when they actually change how a certain event happens to make it nonsensical, which was my biggest problem with Shield Hero a few seasons ago. So hopefully Tower of God does not fall down into the same route. And if it does happen, and I do question some of the things, hopefully you guys will be there to tell me, hey, it's not like this, right? So, yeah, anyways, in this episode, I do think we're going to actually get into the mechanics of this world with our first real battle, I guess you could say. So, let's get right into it. Alright, let's begin in 3, 2, 1, play. Yeah, Crunchyroll original. Oh, okay. It's gonna start with the opening, I guess. And by the way, the way that I typically do openings is if it's from the very start of an episode, I'll typically cut it out just to save everybody some time. If it is within, like, we have some of the episode first and then we have the opening, I'll leave it in. Not to mention, I think this is we didn't actually get this. Nah, I still can't get over like the actual opening music. Like even though they're saying Japanese, the words aren't Japanese. The way that they enunciate the words, entirely Korean. Glass rose. Hmm. This seems to be a very minimalistic kind of opening. I do wonder if, as time goes on, we'll get more and more, uh, more and more characters or scenes being added in. Maybe they don't want to spoil anything. Oh, Kami. Oh, even. Zoo turtle. Lizard Girl. Okay. So I'm assuming those that have their own scenes are a bit more important. I think the Lizard Girl also used a weapon that had the same sigil there. So maybe that of royalty? Cool. I'll bet people ship these two together, don't they? Okay. Turns into a whip, eh? Hmm. They just need to wait until the next round, right? Hmm. Cool. Hmm. Good calculating, dude. Hmm? Second round? Alright, so what now? 150? 2 allies. These three? Wouldn't that mean he's disqualified? Anako and... I thought you weren't allowed to fight. Okay, yeah. They never said it has to be. Yeah, they never said it had to be consensual. Just touching. Alright. Avencal's mothership. Which was that floating thing in the sky, I guess? I guess this guy is the definition of being reptile-minded. I'm guessing this is also an important character somehow? Well, look on the bright side, they're not ignoring you anymore. Oh, I love this voice actor. So this is a sort of gamification setting. Huh. Just like that. Damn. Shinkami means holy water? Now they're calling it Shinsu, but I think Kami no Mizu is holy water, divine water, god water. The chosen one. Ooh. Mm. And then next is this guy. Kunnex? Really? She's not gonna pass, is she? Hmm. Yeah, so he came from outside. Now he woke up. Hmm. Is this tower like underwater? I mean, that's not exactly his problem, is it? These. Dang. Just like that. Huh. So for sheer will, you can still get past? Alright. Hmm. You two should team up. Oh, and there we go. Alright, I guess this is the way that they do the endings, huh? Oh, actually. Ooh. I mean, if it's just gonna be her sleeping this entire time. Oh, she woke up. Do you see something? Or are you just gonna go back to sleep? By the looks of that, it seems someone put that shirt on her. Okay, the sun. Good morning. Alright, see you guys. Alrighty, so that was episode 2 of Tower of God. And consider me intrigued about this storyline already. I definitely feel like this episode piqued my interest a lot more than the first one, especially learning more and more about this world and what exactly we're in for, as well as all the other abilities, and I guess a sense of the potential of how things can go from here, right? So first of all, let's talk about our, I guess, main trio, in a sense, Bam, Kun, and Rock. I definitely wasn't expecting Rock to also be part of the main cast. And we can definitely see from here that they are definitely heads and shoulders above the rest of the competition, right? We can, especially in the case of Kun and Rock, I mean, they didn't really, they probably could have also passed through the Shinsu immediately, except they chose not to, deliberately. And of course, bam, he's the chosen one. He's a monster. They've already said as much. They've already hinted at as much. It will definitely be interesting to see how things grow from there, right? But I think for me, even more than that is the sort of implications that were mentioned in this episode, particularly with Bam not actually being of the tower. So, even though in the first episode it was a case where, okay, I want to go into the tower and so on and so forth, I actually thought while they were explaining it that they were perhaps originally from the tower that they were talking about was actually the inner tower, right? This place where they actually need to climb up. I thought they were also from the outer tower as well. But apparently it is not so, and they come from somewhere completely outside of this, both Bam and Rachel. So that totally changes a lot of things as well. They are someone completely not related with this sort of tower. And then also, with the appearance of Lororo, also another thing dawned on me that originally I was thinking that perhaps climbing to the tower was a near unachievable goal, like perhaps only one or two have ever been to the top in history or something like that. It's that kind of situation. But with with there being just an occupation or a sort of classification called ranker, and having people from that classification actually come and administer these tests, so it's not exactly an achievable goal, and it's actually something that maybe if not happens very frequently, at least it's not completely out of the norm, right? And combine this part with what Kun was saying about not following the rules, and then getting a warning from Lororo to actually watch out for him. As well as the dialogue from the previous episode from Yuri, Princess Yuri, I kind of get the feeling that perhaps this tower system is a little bit more sinister than it seems from the surface, right? It seems to me that this is some sort of closed ecosystem that they have right now with in regards to the entire tower, right? People living outside in the outer tower and then being able to be chosen and come into the inner tower, eventually make their way up to the top of the tower. Why does this system, why is this system in place, right? Like, why have this at all? Originally, I was thinking that this was maybe something, this was a tower made by the gods or something like that. Even though there were administrators of the tower, they were really just to keep an eye on things, if you will, by jurisdiction. Maybe they got jurisdiction from the gods or something like that. But now that we are in this kind of situation, I do wonder, perhaps this entire tower system is actually maybe a way for the royalty to keep control over things, perhaps, or at the very least, what they have right now is not exactly an ideal situation, right? Probably those who are in the know, those who have knowledge of this, actually maybe this entire tower system is something to be abhorred, or something like that. But it's definitely not just a simple case of, hey, if you get to the top of the tower, then all your worries will be done, right? And in fact, I'm thinking that Kun might be one of those, I don't know, I think the best terminology I can think of right now is a resistance fighter or something like that, or somebody who wants to get to the bottom of things, don't really want to follow the rules that have been dictated so far, which is, those that are chosen can enter the tower, and then they can eventually reach the top level, and then perhaps from then on serve the royalty, serve the tower, or something of that sort, right? So, there's definitely a deeper hidden storyline behind all this in regards to the entire tower, and so far it's not looking like it's something to be viewed in a positive light. In fact, what I was talking about, the closed ecosystem also, I was wondering, so perhaps, there's something that in the past had happened to this world as well, which caused this tower to be built, and for there to be this sort of divide between the tower and those from the outside world, right? And in fact, considering that Bomb, being from the outside world, is considered a monster in the tower, perhaps all those from the outside world can be considered monsters, or have, or are special in a sort of way when compared with those within the tower. I don't know, but definitely a lot of interesting stuff to be thinking of right now for as we have seen in these two episodes. So with that in mind, we still do have an actual sort of Now that is more like a meta discussion of things, right? Obviously, I'm not expecting them to actually dive that deep into this bigger conspiracy or whatnot in the first early episodes. In fact, perhaps not even in this season, right? Considering how long the Tower of God webtoon has actually been going on for. So we still have an actual sort of qualification test on our hands. And okay, so we had those. We have some other characters being introduced as well. So Anak, Hats, obviously very strong characters. Probably we'll see more of them down the line. Probably there will be enemies or allies at some point in time. One guy I like to mention though is Shibisu, right? The sort of third wheel to the entire thing. But hey, in the end, he did manage to pass through, right? And as Leroro was saying, it's not coincidence. I don't think it's coincidence that he was able to find Anak and Hats and was actually also able to pass through as well. Because don't remember, if he doesn't go through, the other two fail as well, right? So obviously, this guy does have something. Even though he did struggle to go through the wall. I think, from my experience with this kind of works and whatnot, I do think he's going to turn out to be one of those minor characters who manages to keep up despite being clearly outclassed, right? And in fact, I would even venture a guess and say he's one of those that's going to play a pivotal role in some later on future arc, right? And displaying a level of talent and ability that is far surpasses what anyone expects of him. I feel like he's kind of those Dark Horse characters like that. And so yeah, that's basically it. We do see some other characters as well. We'll probably be introduced to them later on. And in the last episode, I said that just from the initial episode, I feel I'm really reminded of Hunter x Hunter, and in this episode, that actually reinforces my belief even more, right? Like, looking at Bam and Kun and Rak and their sort of, their sort of interaction with each other and their characteristics, as well as how they carry themselves, I'm instantly reminded of Gon, of Killua, of Leorio, and it's not a bad thing, right? I'm just saying that it's some sort of, I do get some kind of parallel and similarities to that as well. Now, obviously, since I'm not familiar with Korean manhwa works in general, I don't know if they also follow these sort of shonen tropes. Maybe not. Hard to say. We'll find out later on. And besides them, we got Leroro as well. Come on, I can't be the only one that instantly sees Hisoka in him, right? So yeah, so definitely a lot of, it's giving me that kind of vibe, and so, I like Hunter x Hunter. It's not exactly my favorite or whatnot. I'm not a super fan of it as like a lot of my peers or whatnot, but I do find it a very enjoyable watch, and if this is as good as that, or maybe even better than that, hey, I think we're going to be in for some pretty good times in the future. So there we go. That was it for episode 2 of Tower of God. And again, I apologize for this episode being a little bit late. The next episode will be on time on Wednesdays. And so I hope I will see you guys again next week. Until then, bye-bye.